Peoples of the universe, please attend carefully. The message that follows is vital to the future of you all. I am the master, and you will obey me. And today, we are still continuing this grand mastery celebration of me, the master, the greatest character in all of fiction or literature and anything else otherwise. And here with me today to talk about arguably my greatest achievement, my masterful ascension, are two people who know all about it. Mostly. Say hello to the first one, the Soda Master. How are you doing today, Mr. Master Soda?
I'm doing very good, and I have questions about what we're going to be discussing.
Well, funny you should say that. You probably wouldn't have as many questions if you'd actually listened to the whole episode.
Not that kind of. Okay, thanks for the guilt, but not that kind of questions. It's more about the characters. That's where my questions are. You jerk.
All right, we'll get there. But thankfully, someone did do their homework today. The Snarkster.
One thing people know about me is I'm a huge lover of homework, and I do it all the time and never pushed it off for nothing.
Nerd. I'm sorry. What?
I feel a bit left out of the conversation. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you're for your headline.
Yes, I am the master, and you will obey me. There we go. Now all of us have headlines. We're all.
I think mine is more Canadian. Mine is a lot more Canadian. It's more polite. It's like, will you obey me?
Will you obey me, please?
You don't have to cut. You don't have
and
to.
mine just shows where I'm at in life.
That's right.
Well, I find it far better to take orders from your dog than from a wife. But that's just me. Shall we talk about the birthday sections this week? Because
of course.
There are quite a few of them. So we are talking from the 14th all the way to the 20th, which is when this episode is supposed to be uploaded. Hint, hint, hint. But starting us off on the 14th, we have Mr. Carly Blyton. He was a writer in the classic series. He wrote such episodes as Doctor Who and the Silurians, Revenge of the Cybermen, and Death to the Daleks, a personal favorite of one Mr. Nicholas Briggs. He has 3 beloved episodes from the 70s era. On the 15th, we have Mr. Mervyn Haseman, another writer. He particularly wrote...
He's evil.
Yeah, the beard of evil. Yeah, he's got the goatee. It fits.
Don't trust him. Can't trust him.
But anyways, he wrote the episodes The Abominable Snowman and its follow-up episode, The Web of Fear, which officially makes him the creator of The Yetis, The Great Intelligence, and The Brigadier. And look at that. I just removed his image and Snark's...
Yeah, I said he's evil, and all of a sudden everything's going haywire.
Everything is going wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey.
Mr. Mastery.
So he's
whatever
pretty important
is it?
then.
Oh my
So
god.
he's what?
He's pretty important then.
Yep, very important. He also co-wrote The Dominators under the pseudonym of Norman Ashby. It's a really fine, interesting story there. Now, also on the 15th, we have Mr. Sean Biggerstaff. Does that name sound familiar to either one of you? Are you familiar with that name?
I've heard the name Biggerstaff before.
Me too.
So none of you guys recognize the name?
Can't place it. We have to know it though. You're driving it home 50 like we know, except Mr. Master. We're driving home, so we have to know who it is. We just can't place it in our minds. You probably use some kind of trick.
Let me just replace myself. You two should be ashamed of yourselves.
I am ashamed of
myself. The Harry Potter movies.
Okay, I thought the name sounded familiar. Like I knew he was an actor in a fantasy thing. I just couldn't place it.
So yeah, he did a lot of Big Finish stuff, primarily in episodes named New Frontiers, Shada, the Big Finish version, Time Reef, and A Perfect World, The Skull of Sobek, Masters of Earth, Enemy Lines, and Cold Vengeance. He's also primarily playing the secondary character, the co-lead, I should say, of the spin-off series Jenny, the Doctor's Daughter. So the guy's got a pretty big name in Doctor Who as well. Now, on the 16th, the man who honestly needs no introduction.
Thank you.
He's easily identified by his voice. More specifically, one word. Affirmative. John Leeson, the voice of K9. Obviously, he played a lot of other roles all throughout Doctor Who, not discounting any of that, but I mean, to us, he will always be the voice of K9. 80 years young and still going. K9 is still going strong. Also, also on the affirmative. Also on the 16th, Mr. Donald Tush. He was a script editor for the Daleks' Master Plan, the Time Meddler, Galaxy 4, Mission to the Unknown, the Myth Makers, and the Massacre of St. Bartholomew's Eve. He also wrote the Massacre and several episodes of the Dalek Master Plan, as well as the Celestial Toymaker, though he went a bit uncredited. So massive name in the Doctor Who.
Might or might not see coming up. Who knows?
What do you mean? What?
Or in the next Doctor Who special.
Oh yeah, that. I was trying to place where your head was going. So
don't try and do that. Are you mad? Have you gone mad?
Well, he is the master.
That's true.
No. Sure. From the looks of your audio, from the looks of your camera, you're the one going mad on us.
That's true.
But yeah, on the 17th, Mr. Sam Watts. He primarily did the incidental music for pretty much all of the Sarah Jane Adventures episodes. If not all of them, then a vast majority of them. Also on the 17th, and this is where it gets pretty interesting, we have Miss Jane Trenter. Sorry, my bad. She was an executive producer on the majority of the Torchwood Miracle Day season, also known as the season we do not talk about. However, she will also be executive producing the next few years of Doctor Who, primarily the David Tennant specials, as well as the first 2 seasons to feature Ncuti Gatwa as the Doctor.
I thought she looked familiar.
Yeah. And I think you're gonna find this next one also very familiar, Mr. Soda. On the 18th, we have Miss Sophia Miles, who played Madame de Pompadour on the famous Girl in the Fireplace.
One of my favorite Tennant episodes and one of my favorite one-off characters.
True. And speaking of fan favorite one-off characters, on the 19th, Snark, I think you're really going to enjoy this. Okay? Are you ready? Is you ready for this? Mary Wimbush. She played Sarah Jane Smith's Aunt Lavinia in the K9 and Company pilot that was supposed to be a series that never actually happened.
That shows up at the very, very, very end or whatever, even though you spend the entire thing at her house. So strange.
The entire time you think she's dead, but nope.
She lives in a town of Satanists. She lives with Satanists, and she never even figured it out.
Yeah, and she went off to
figured it out in a
America.
minute. And K9.
Yeah, and
K9 shoots a whole bunch of Satanists in that one.
Yeah, really Satanist heavy episode. So we're coming up on the 20th. So I think you're going to like this next one probably even more. Okay, are you sitting comfortably?
Nope. Usually
on the edge of my seat.
On the 20th of March, Mr. John Delancey.
Oh,
from Star Trek. He was he played the character Alan Shapiro in 3 episodes of that same ill-begotten season of Torchwood. A lot of good actors in that season. Just wish the writing was better.
Yeah, that's
Also,
the American season, right?
Yep, that's why there are so many American actors in that season.
Fair.
Also on the 20th, Mr. Mark Warren, who played the one-off character Elton Pope in the infamous Love and Monsters episode, and finally,
He's my favorite part of that episode. I love the character and I love the actor in that role.
yeah, well, my favorite part is the Mr. Blue Sky. Anyway, finally, wrapping up this list, the woman who stole all of our hearts, the lovely Freema Agyeman, Martha Jones herself, in my opinion, the best modern companion. Fight me on this if you dare.
She's in the conversation for sure.
Yeah. So for the long and wonderful list of people we had today, thank you all. We quite literally could not do this without you.
She's almost as cool as Clara Oswald.
Yeah, almost. Nah, not even close. So, should we get back to talking about me now for a second?
Or
For the rest of the show, as a matter of fact.
Oh, you mean us?
What?
Don't you mean us?
Well, yes,
I'm the snarkster.
but mostly me, because I gathered you all here today to watch my greatness. Did I not?
Spoken like a true master.
Yes. Now shut up and go kill yourself. Do it slowly with a spoon.
Oh, gee whiz!
So, Masterful, dare I even call it the Masterful story from Big Finish, featuring pretty much all the masters they could get in one room at that time, featuring the likes of Mark Gatiss, Alex McQueen, Geoffrey Beevers, Michelle Gomez, John Simm, Derek Jacobi, Eric Roberts, Milo Parker, and John Colshaw. These are just the list of names of the actors that they could get. There are obviously several more masters that could have been in the story but weren't. Obviously, the James Dreyfus master was a little bit indisposed at the moment while they were doing it, but thankfully he's back on the Big Finish role in more recent releases. But should we just talk a little bit about pre stuff, or should we just jump straight into the story itself of the Masterful story?
I do have one question, and it is one that you kind of gave me guff for in the green room. But how did Chameleon get here? Because I don't know much about Chameleon. So how did he end up with the group of the Masters?
In the story or in Doctor Who in general?
In Doctor Who in general. Like, I mean, basically, how did he end up in this position?
Wasn't he made out of those silver people from I'm trying to remember the name of the planet, not Legopolis. There's the planet, that first planet with the gosh darn it. I'm so bad with the names episodes. The silver people. I'm having a hard time. But yeah, he's made up of
the Seraphins?
Yes, Seraphins. All I remember is it's made up of when the master got dumped into the Seraphim. What is it called? Like the continuum? Is that what it was called?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I guess out popped the Chameleon.
Interesting.
Well, no. But
probably knows it better.
But good. So basically, the Chameleon is a member of a race of shape-shifting alien robots created by the aptly named species, the Camille, who used them as conquerors of other planets. They conquered the Zeraphis, and he was sort of left there to sort of govern the planet until the Master showed up and picked him up and essentially turned him into a slave. The thing about the chameleon race, or rather the chameleon subspecies, is that they're incredibly impressionable. They form an attachment to whoever they consider to be their master, and they just change their shape and mannerisms accordingly. So
you can see his brain and his eyes move around.
The one in this story is the same one from the TV series?
Yeah. allegedly.
Yeah.
So it primarily appears in the episode "The King's Demons" and becomes an official Doctor Who companion. Afterwards, now here, this is where we sort of diverge from the main conversation a little bit. But since it's a master themed episode, let's experiment a little bit by going into some creepy pasta territory. Are you ready for this?
Always when it comes to creepypasta.
Oh boy.
Okay, so the prop itself, the prop of Chameleon, was found in a junkyard by the producer of the show at the time, John Nathan Turner, who actually really wanted a return to form, or a return of the robotic companion to the Doctor. So he took the prop that he just found in a junkyard and brought it into the show. Weirdly enough, that's kind of how the TARDIS was found in the first ever episode. You're seeing the weird coincidence is there, right?
There is no coincidence when it comes to Doctor Who, apparently.
Yeah. So they hired this guy to sort of fix and rebuild the robot prop, and he figured out how to work the prop itself. Now, the guy died shortly after doing that. So,
he was cursed.
Yeah. Just wait for it. So they had no instruction manual on how to operate the stupid thing. That's why in most of its scenes, it's usually just sitting or just standing, not moving much, not doing much of anything, because it kept falling apart during filming. And
Well,
so
you find it in a junkyard.
it might have been there for a reason. They kept having to rewrite the script. They had to take entire sequences out of the serials.
Jeez.
Just because the prop itself wasn't working and they were on a tight filming schedule. So it was kind of decided that he would be a complete no-show for the majority of the season he was supposed to be a part of, and he only showed up in the penultimate episode, Planet of Fire, where the Doctor destroys him.
And he was basically just Perry's stepfather, painted silver or whatever for most of that episode too, right?
No.
No. I mean, he was the Master painted silver for the majority of the episode. But yeah, he wasn't actually her stepfather. He was taking the form of her stepfather. Is what
right. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why they did that. So they
sorry. That's what I meant. The like Chameleon had taken the form of Perry's stepfather for some reason, just a silver version of her stepfather for a while in that episode.
It's not for some reason. It's so they wouldn't have to use the prop.
Well, yeah, exactly.
That's how they got around it. And weirdly enough, the other two people who were supposed to take care of the prop after the other guy died, they also died. And the actor who originally provided the voice also died. And pretty much every person, whoever was ever associated with this prop, with the clear exception of Peter Davison, they're all gone. They died in horrible, mysterious ways. The producer, John Nathan Turner, Anthony Ainley also passed away before the revival happened. So yeah, anyone who had any association with this prop did. Maybe
it's the ring. The thing is the ring.
Maybe that's why it was in the junkyard the whole time.
Maybe
it was like the Jumanji thing, the Jumanji board game or whatever. So yeah, one of these days maybe I'll do an entire episode just talking about the mishaps with this thing. But that is not what we're here for today, because today we are here to talk about Masterful. So, with the exception of Chameleon, any further questions, Your Honors?
No, I'll have some more as we keep going. So,
all right. So the story itself begins with two characters climbing a mountaintop to an abandoned castle on a dark planet. One of the two people is further on revealed to be Milo Parker, who plays the Master as a young boy who hasn't even left Gallifrey, probably still fresh into the academy before he even, lost it completely. And the other before he even was man enough to grow a goatee. And the other one, also famously goatee lacking, is the Decayed Master, played by Geoffry Beevers, or as Snark will always remember him as
Mhm.
a new body at last.
That's the height of special effects.
That's just this is wild. Too funny.
Special effects at at their best. So they both enter the
Works.
castle. They
It
find
works.
they both enter the castle. They find this big table set for a feast, a celebratory feast. They have no idea what's going on. They have a little conversation amongst themselves before they're being interrupted by none other than the Eric Roberts Master, sometimes referred to as the Bruce Master or the Human Master, the American Master, the only American to ever be the Master thus far.
The
And
most recognizable voice besides Missy, I'd say.
Yeah, of course.
yeah, possibly the most distinguishable voice, I
Mhm.
would say.
True.
And while they continue to have this tete-a-tete of just arguing with each other, they are then greeted by the Reborn Master, played by Alex McQueen.
Okay, yeah, this is when I had a question about like where does he fall in the timeline?
Must be Big Finish, right? That must be a Big Finish master.
He's a Big Finish exclusive. He primarily made his debut alongside the Eighth Doctor in the infamous Dark Eyes series,
Okay.
but then continued to pop up here and there alongside some of the other Doctors. And he famously appeared alongside the Geoffrey Beevers Master in the famous story The Two Masters. Highly recommend checking that one out. The Masters literally destroy reality as it is for a hot second.
Those scamps.
Yeah. Whenever the Masters meet each other, chaos ensues, as we were about to discover with the rest of the story. Now, while they're they continue to having an argument and having this throwing jabs at each other, they're then greeted by none other than the Tremis Master, not Anthony Ainley, played by John Coleshaw, because obviously Anthony Ainley passed away years and years ago.
Okay.
And at this point, they're starting to realize that this is a setup. Something must be off. Someone brought them all together into this one place, and the person to figure it all out is none other than the War Master, played expertly by Derek Jacobi, reprising the role from the TV show and the rest of the War Master series of box sets.
Wish he got more on the TV show.
Hey man, it is what it is. But you know what? He's still alive.
Yeah.
And so anything can happen. If John,
you know what, man? I got a long trip ahead of me sometime soon, so I got a lot of time to listen.
Yeah. Now the War Master, obviously the most brilliant out of all the masters. The guy literally is fighting the Time War of all things. He even says it to the other masters. He spent most of his life fighting a war that he doesn't feel that any of them have the stamina for. And he's the one that deduces that the Anthony Ainley Master was really chameleon in disguise the whole time, revealing to us, the audience, that while the Anthony Ainley Master couldn't physically be there, for obvious reasons, in story-related purposes, the main reason he's not there is because he doesn't trust the other masters, so he sends his slave Chameleon to go in his place and
very wise,
sort of keep an eye on things. And while the masters still don't really fully understand why they're all there, they're then greeted by the Saxon Master, played by John Simm, returning to the role after several years absence, shall we say. First and so far only time John Simm has done any Big Finish thing ever. Yeah, that was
really?
All of the other masters have appeared frequently. Some of them even have their own standalone series, but not this guy for some reason.
Wonder why.
Yeah, more busy, or he just doesn't want to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, because I would really like to know what the heck he did during that year in Series 3.
Well, there is one Big Finish series that is so far only has one box set, but it's sort of alluded to that they're planning to do more. and features none other than this lovely lady.
Yeah, that's right. You mentioned it about her time, what she did during the year.
Yeah, it's called the Year of Martha. Maybe he could show up there. So far, he hasn't, but maybe he could show up there. Now, during the meeting, the Saxon Master reveals to the other Masters that he won. He killed the Doctor, and he took over the universe. And now he's about to toast to their great success. And he does a head count and realizes that they're kind of short on one Master at least. So he tries his best to bring the Roger Delgado Master, the original, you might say. So he comes up with this transport pod using the time scoop to scoop up the original Master, and instead he brings Joe Grant of all people.
Yeah, or random.
Yeah, because apparently it turns out that the Master, this Master, the Roger Delgado Master, saw the time scoop coming, and so he pushed Joe into the time scoop, sending her there. And so now it's Joe Grant surrounded by the Master, the Master, the Master, the Master, the Master, Chameleon, and the Master. And they're all hungry and out for blood, fully ready to sacrifice Joe Grant.
Naturally.
Until they're interrupted by Missy wearing a perception filter pretending to be the great sorcerer Queequeg. Now, a little bit of a side stop on that. Queequeg is an alias that the third Doctor used during the episode The Demons, which literally means who. It's like 3 Latin versions for who, for the word who. Queequeg.
That's funny.
And obviously, the Saxon Master is the first to realize who this woman is, even before she takes off her ridiculous disguise and shakes off the weird accent that she has, and revealing that she's actually in all of their future. She is the most recent Master up until that point. I think even the Sacha Dhawan Master hasn't even debuted on television yet, at least not while they were recording it. So
that sounds about right, because I thought this was like pretty recent, but it looks like it was recorded like I think a couple of years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Around they were recorded it around 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
About several months later. Can't remember exactly when, but basically, she's there to put a stop to whatever all the Masters were up to. So she sort of splits everyone off, and all the other Masters get thrown off into different directions, all across the timeline of this one planet that they happen to be on. And so the where is it? The Decayed Master. Yeah, the Decayed Master now has a perception filter that makes him look much more human and much more presentable to the naked eye.
And I like this.
Yeah, he lives with this woman who is like the last survivor. Yeah, Kitty, the last survivor of something that happened to the planet. The Reborn Master finds himself in a supply cupboard on a refugee ship making its way from Tiamat to another planet, and a journey that's supposed to take 65 years. Meanwhile, the War Master finds himself in a war-torn, ravaged place that used to be a city once, where people are now betraying each other for simply a chance to survive. Meanwhile, Joe Grant is off somewhere, and Missy, and now I'm suddenly realizing it's the only Master I don't have a picture for, but Missy encounters none other than the Unbound Master, played by Mark Gatiss. Any questions about that in particular Master?
Well, no. Once you said Unbound, I realized he's pretty much a big fish. One from the Unbound series, I'm assuming, right?
Yep, the Unbound series, also known as the Doctor Who What If. But basically, in 2003, the Big Finish people basically got together and just did a Doctor Who What If series of different people playing different doctors, and they sort of put them in these weird what ifs type scenarios. One of which begged the question of what if the what if the Doctor was sent to the 2000s during his exile, as opposed to the 1970s or 80s.
Oh, cool.
Which, by the way, featured the David Warner incarnation of the Doctor alongside Nicholas Courtney as an older brigadier, and David Tennant as an asshole unit colonel or whatever.
Awesome.
Yeah.
In his natural voice?
In his
Scottish.
Scottish voice.
Very nice.
Yeah, and in that story, this master basically won because there was no Doctor to stop him during unit. Apparently, all of America now has holes in it, and Great Britain is completely ravaged. He basically killed the world, most of it, anyways. There are still some survivors, but for the most part, yeah, it's a very different world. And he kind of blames the Doctor for not being there to stop him.
Of course, it's the Doctor's fault that he blew up the world.
Yeah, because that's the Master for you. That's basically what it is. And obviously, the Doctor eventually, the David Warner Doctor, eventually tricks him into going into the Doctor's TARDIS, while the Doctor and the Brigadier steal the Master's TARDIS and start traveling all throughout the universe together. Now, this Master sort of resurfaced in the more recent New Adventures of Bernice Summerfield, where he sort of became the ruler of the universe, and he's kind of a pseudo good guy, even though he's still, the Master, and he's still doing a lot of bad stuff. Still like the Master, and he rules the universe, and he meets with Missy, trying to convince her that he's the Doctor, but of course she sees right through that disguise, and that is more or less where that side of the story ends, and we then sort of go back and forth between all the other Masters. The Geoffrey Beevers living with Kitty, the Reborn Master on the ship, and the War Master trying to find his way in the desolate, war-torn place.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty much the majority of part 1 of Masterful, but part 2 is where things really start to pick up. Any further questions up until now, as I menacingly drink my tea?
No, I'm just saying that Joe was with Chameleon, and Chameleon, to make her feel more at home and more at ease, turns into the third Doctor.
Yeah.
And that guy who does the voice for the third Doctor friggin' knocked it out of the park. I was like, holy shit. I couldn't believe it. I was invested. This like, goddamn, do I have to go listen to these third Doctor adventures on Big Finish now? That was it. It was like perfect. Like even the way he just says Joe is like, yeah, all right, I got it.
I'll give it to Big Finish. They really know how to pick the best for when it comes to people who have to play dead characters. But they always get the best ones. It's very impressive.
One thing I will say is that for the charcoal Master, the decayed Master, he just sounds very like when you hear him like on the show, his voice is like more pained, more gravelly, and when he's on this or whatever, he sounds like he's a very quiet, unassuming older man. Instead of like this or whatever, like he was before, like a new body at last.
Hold on, I gotta play it.
Yes.
A new body at last.
Yeah, that's how he's supposed to sound. And then most of the episode, he's like, "Oh, would you like a spot of tea then?"
Well, remember,
delightful. But I like that's my favorite part. That was my favorite story. So I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that voice did not sound like the decayed Master to me.
But to be fair, he is a lot older now. He's the only one of the classic Masters who is still alive. And also, he's sort of when he's wearing a perception filter that makes him look more human. So,
Jeremy.
Jeremy. There's your reasoning right there. Now, about
nobody named Jeremy can be evil.
Yeah, you never suspected Jeremy, right?
No, it's usually a Chad.
Yeah, that's true.
Or a Slade. But
Mm.
the thing you mentioned the guy doing the voice of the Third Doctor.
Yeah.
That is John Colshaw. The guy's a voice master, if you'll pardon the pun. He also does an incredible
Calling the cops.
Tom Baker voice. Yeah, he did it on his in his own, segment on his own show where he's literally going around impersonating the Fourth Doctor on people. Yeah, I'll send you a clip later. But in this story, he's also doing the voice of Chameleon,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
as well as the Anthony Ainley Master. And I'll tell you
Oh.
something else that even
That was busy.
that will blow your mind even further. Even though he does a spot-on, easily recognizable Third Doctor, he's not the one doing the voice of the Third Doctor on the Third Doctor Adventures on Big Finish.
Oh.
Okay.
They got another guy to do that.
Is he good?
Yeah,
Is he that
Tim
good?
Trelawney. He's really yeah. There are moments when if you close your eyes, you could easily see the Third Doctor, like John Pertwee, I should say. Like he's talking to Joe or the Brigadier, which oddly enough, John Colshaw also does the voice of the Brigadier.
Ooh.
Go figure. But you can tell that it's like you're easily fooled that he is the doc. That he might be the Doctor. Actually, hold on. I might have a few clips. So thank you for bringing that up. I might have a few clips. Let me just see. So this is one where he's talking to the meddling monk.
Okay.
And you know how much I love that character. So listen to this.
Yeah, unless you're Lou.
Yeah. Well, we don't talk about him, don't we?
We don't talk about Lou. Sorry.
Okay. So listen to this.
Oh, a strange medical facility up to no good. Stocked with equipment that could only have been sourced through time travel? His fingerprints are all over this.
Oh, you mean...
Precisely, Joe. This setup has all the hallmarks of the master...
Hello, Doctor. How simply delicious to see you again.
Jeez.
Yeah, there's actually a continuation of that.
You were
Hold on.
expecting someone else? I can't decide whether to be pleased or offended.
He's not the master.
Him? Ugh, heaven forfend. Some of us have better things to do with our time than shuffle a grudge around the universe in a suit smelling of Ogron.
An extremely
there's the final one.
irritating, irresponsible meddler.
Takes one to know one.
Calls himself the monk.
He doesn't, you know. Honestly, throw on a cassock a couple of times and you're typecast.
So yeah, the monk is a great character. Screw you, Frenchie. Anyways,
Yeah, Frenchie, screw you.
so the chameleon kind of gives his own life to save Joe from the entropy wave,
Yeah.
and that was really the end of part one. Part two opens with a literal cliffhanger of Joe dangling from a cliff, and she meets Missy, who for some reason believes she's the Doctor.
Yeah.
She does eventually decide to save her. And meanwhile, the Unbound Master and Chameleon are traveling the universe together. Or maybe that's part 3. I can't remember. I had the whole story sort of jumbled up in my brain. But eventually, over time, you start to wonder, where are all the other masters? Well, what part do they play in this story? So the Bruce Master turns up on the same place as the Decayed Master, sort of starts to swoop in and kind of try to take his girl. The Milo Parker Master, the Kid Master, turns out he's the captain of the ship, the refugee ship, and he's kind of the reason why people have to scrimp and save their rations and why the ship is 65 years late.
Naturally.
And the John Simm Master ends up being the same place as the War Master, and he was kind of the ruler of the city that people worshipped, and now they all hate him. And so all these different masters sort of team up with each other, or rather, the War Master and the Saxon Master team up together. They're driving a car, trying to wander through the desolation of that city, trying to figure out how to get back to where they were earlier in the castle. Meanwhile, the reborn master tries to overthrow the child master and become the new captain of the ship. And as he puts it, "You tried to kill me with biscuits."
Yes, I like that. That was a good one. To have the robot throw 100 biscuits at him and say, "Oh, here you go."
I mean,
For all for the biscuits.
you can tell that this kid
Crackers. It was a cracker.
yeah, he is the master in more ways than one. That's how the master thinks.
Yep.
He tries to take someone down. And speaking of taking someone down, the Eric Roberts master, the Bruce master, really starts to sow seeds of doubt between Kitty and the Decayed master, or rather Jeremy. And then eventually, meanwhile, Missy and Joe Grant find a big, large library where they try to find some clues as to what happened to the city and the planet that they're on, where they're being confronted by the ghost of Christmas future, also known as the Lumiat, the future version of Missy, and really the Master's Valiard in a way, the good part of the good side of the Master, until eventually, as Missy tends to do, she kills her, and they get into a further room in the library, where Missy finally reveals to Joe that this whole library was done to commemorate her, because she, or more specifically, the Saxon Master, was the ruler of the entire planet at one point or another, and so they built giant monuments for him. They worshipped him as their master, and they built him this massive library, and that is how part 2 ends, and part 3 opens with the Unbound Master and Chameleon basically invading Gallifrey, and the Unbound Master becoming the Lord High President of Gallifrey. Now, here's a question to you, Snark.
Sure.
Did you also check out the bonus scene?
Yes, I did. Yes, of course I did. What are you trying to say? Yeah, I did.
I was asking.
Yes. I had a lot more questions about this thing. And I mean, like, about the second part. Like, first off, it's Joe who keeps on asking Missy, "You want to be friends with me?" It's like, it's okay. You want to be my friend and stuff like that, and kind of almost taunting her. But the one thing that I thought was awfully cool was when they're in the library, and Missy says to her, "It's like, as a Time Lord, we can reason out everything. Like, we have tremendous powers of scanning and stuff like that. Like, every time the doctor would say something like would be questioning about where a book is, all he would do is stand beside it, and then he would say, 'Oh, is it this or whatever?' And then you would, he would be basically nudging your help along or whatever. He was just trying to make you feel good the entire time. And I was like, yeah, good. Taunt her a little bit
I mean, rule 1: the doctor lies
all the time.
Also, that's the main thing about the doctor. He's always several steps ahead of everybody. He knows the answers before you even ask the question. But here's the thing: he's also a teacher to Joe. He wants Joe to figure things out for herself.
Yeah.
He knows the answers. He just wants her to figure things out on her own. And as for the "you want to be my friend," that's kind of Joe's whole thing. She's always sees the good in everybody, even the Master, even this Master. What did you say, Soda?
I said she's a good person.
Yeah, she's a good person. She's like Lily Potter. She always tries to look for the good in everybody.
She also kept mentioning about how her and the Delgado Master would flirt all the time and stuff like that. It was like, really? I didn't notice that at all. And I just watched it. It's like, I don't remember any flirtations between the two of them. But anyways, that's fine.
I mean, maybe that's how she remembers it. Who knows?
That's true.
But you can't deny that this guy has.
It was the 70s. It was the 70s. Things were different then.
Yeah,
Things were different than soda.
Everyone flirted.
How dare you, sir?
But I mean, look at this guy. This guy is suave, right?
Yeah, that guy's the goddamn master.
Yeah, he has a charm about him. He's got sex appeal. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soda would obey. No questions asked.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even be hypnotized.
I I will obey you any day of the week. First of all, speaking of which, now that we brought that up, can we just talk about the conversation between Missy and the Unbound Master, where they're flirting with each other? Like,
Yeah.
you're a beautiful woman, improbably. Oh, doctor, you're reversing my neutron flow or whatever. Neutron flow or whatever. And what else? Touch these two lips together, but do I have the right? So they're using actual lines from the show, but they're using it in a flirtatious way. It's
pretty
amazing.
genius.
And it's sort of reminiscent of when Missy and the John Simm Master met on screen for the first time.
Mhm.
Right? So where were we? So yeah, they're in the library. They disperse the Lumia ghost. Meanwhile, the the Reborn Master takes over the ship and basically gets rid of the Kid Master. The Bruce Master convinces the Decade Master to tell Kitty the truth and take off the perception filter. And and she reacts about as well as you can imagine.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Master basically shows the Saxon Master how incompetent he really is, even though he feels otherwise. So he just leaves him there in the frozen wasteland. Meanwhile, Chameleon is wandering around after leaving the Unbound Master in the bonus scene that was added later, wandering around, taking the form of the Anthony Ainley Master, the Tremis Master, and convincing some of the other Masters to join up with him. And so they go all the way back and having fun storming the castle, as it were, about to take Missy down, when it was revealed that Chameleon was actually still working for Missy all along and blows himself up, taking with him the Kid Master, the Bruce Master, and the Saxon Master.
When I saw this, I was like, what the hell?
And meanwhile, the Unbound Master, after essentially destroying Gallifrey yet again, he just walks away and tries to find a different path in life. Meanwhile, Missy, sitting on her throne, is being revisited by the Decade Master, the Reborn Master, and the War Master, who are now the rulers of whatever is left of the universe, while the entropy wave is still raging. The Reborn Master and the Decade Master share a moment together where they talk about what they used to do before they got reunited. The War Master has a moment with Missy. Eventually, it was revealed that the Butler was actually the John Simm Master all along, because apparently that guy just cannot seem to die.
Nope, he's a cockroach.
Yep. And so he constructed this big machine that uses the Eternium to absorb the entropy wave into himself so that he can have more lives, and the rest of the Masters can continue on living, until it's then later revealed that the War Master poisoned all of their champagnes, and they all start dropping like flies. The Decade Master is gone, the Reborn Master is gone, the Saxon Master is gone, and even Missy is slowly going while talking to the War Master, who reveals that the entropy wave was none other than the Masters themselves at the very end of their life. So the War Master had to kill all of them to undo the entire timeline, essentially making this whole adventure completely pointless, and because it didn't happen, and resetting the timeline. The Doctor is alive now. Whatever happened to the planet did not happen. Gallifrey, for the moment, is safe and sound until the Sacha Dhawan Spy Master comes back and destroys it again. But, wibbly wobbly timey wimey, the Masters won, because the Masters won by way of losing.
This was a great reveal.
And that was it. That was it. That was the end of the Masters.
Over the most important part,
which was
Missy kills Joe Grant. But now it's okay. Now it's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, the timeline got rewritten. So yeah, she.
But we didn't know that at the time. I got friggin' angry. I was angry as shit.
Yeah,
how you killed Joe Grant like that?
It made you wonder, like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I was pissed off.
But I mean, guys, come on! As soon as the story opens, and they pretty much they open it by saying, "Yeah, the Doctor's dead. I killed the Doctor now."
Mhm.
You gotta assume that it's gonna be rewritten at some point, right?
You don't even kill Joe Grant for fun.
True.
True, yeah, that is true. Joe Grant is a saint,
Yep.
and yeah, but
Shame on
so any final thoughts on the whole story?
I love the ending. I love the ending.
And
But I
I'm
also
looking
thought
forward to
this.
finishing this.
Yeah, I thought this was going to be another whole series. I was surprised actually that it ended. It was just a one contained story or whatever, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It when we got to the end. It's like, oh, okay, this is it. I didn't like it when I was sent the box set or whatever. It had like the two other short stories and then a longer story as well.
No.
So I thought it was all part of the same thing. But when I listened to the first one and it got to the end part, it's like I think this is going to end. I think this is just the story or whatever. So I was pretty pleased with it. It was the first time I ever listened to one that was just self-contained. Like I'd listened to like the Eighth Doctor Adventures. I'd listened to Gallifrey, and just keeps going and going and going. So yeah, I was pretty surprised about the compact. Well, compact is 3 something hours, but that is just a self-contained story, which I thought was terrific.
So
And I love the entropy wave.
Yeah, great twist.
Yeah, the thing is though, there's Masterful, and there's like the Masterful Ultimate Edition, which includes the Masterful itself and several other stories that involve the Master, like the Geoffrey Beevers' "I Am the Master" story. There's what
I
was it
like
called?
that one.
Yeah, the switching, where the Roger Delgado Master and the John Pertwee Doctor switch bodies. There's Terror of the Master, which, by the way, as of the recording of this video, has not been fully released yet. So if you get the limited edition of Masterful, you get access to Terror of the Master before it officially comes out. Just saying. And I think there's one more.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
There was the 2 short stories and then the
And
longer
Terror of
one.
the
But yeah, they're different. They're not really big finished stories. They're like almost like audiobooks.
No,
So
they are Big Finish. They're just
yeah, well, no. Like it's not like a play. It's not a play where it's different characters. It's a
yeah,
guy talking.
true.
It's like an audiobook.
True. They're audiobooks, but they're produced by Big Finish,
Right.
which they can sometimes do that in their short trips range. And the Terror of the Master is entirely being narrated by John Colshaw, who also does the voice of the Roger Delgado Master and the Third Doctor, the Brigadier, Mike Yates, John Benton, and all the other characters.
So he's perfect for one of those.
Terror of the Master is what I've been listening to.
Like I said,
That is on there. So yeah, great.
like I said, he is a voice master in more ways than one. That's why he's perfect for the Big Finish audiobook range. He is also, I think he also narrated the audiobook version of the Target novelization of the Five Doctors.
Ooh.
Yeah, so very important to check that out if you can find it. I don't think I found it anywhere, but that is a story for another time. So, gentlemen, any final thoughts on any of these other masters that we explored today? For full disclosure, except Milo Parker and, as we mentioned, John Simm, all these other masters have their own adventures on Big Finish.
Mhm.
Obviously, Geoffrey Beevers is the standout that he does most of them. He does episodes alongside the Fifth Doctor, the Seventh Doctor, the Fourth Doctor, obviously, in most of the ranges. He does the most work out of all of the other masters. The Eric Roberts master shows up in one of the River's Song box sets. He shows up in one of the Eighth Doctor box sets, and he has his own standalone series simply titled Master with an exclamation point. The Alex McQueen master, as I mentioned, appears all over the Dark Eyes storyline with the Eighth Doctor, as well as some of the other Doctors. I believe he also appeared in one of the Unit box sets. Sadly, of course, the Anthony Ainley master passed away, but they do sometimes find creative ways of doing stories with that master without having to have an Anthony Ainley voice impressionist on deck. And obviously, as I mentioned, there's Derek Jacobi doing his own thing in the War Master series of box sets. Chameleon is there sometimes in some stories. As I mentioned, Terror of the Master featuring the Roger Delgado Master, played expertly by John Colshaw, and also Missy had her own standalone series for a little bit that ran for 3 seasons, which also featured the Lumiat as well as the meddling monk, and even, are you ready for this? Even Strax shows up for a minute or two.
Woo!
So, yeah, and Sasha Dewan is also getting his own standalone series very, very soon,
Ooh.
simply titled "Call Me Master." And what else? Joe Grant obviously appears in all over the Third Doctor adventure as well as the Companion Chronicles. Obviously, the Unbound Master Mark Gatiss plays the Unbound Master in the Bernice Summerfield New Adventures, and I think that's about it. I think we covered all of them. So
Nice.
Sweet.
I think I asked you guys a question and then went into this whole spiel about all
You
the
may have.
masters.
You may have.
Sounds about right.
Any other questions about all these other masters before we wrap this up?
No. Like I said, I'm looking forward to finishing this because the Masters, like, how can you not love the Master no matter what incarnation he's in?
True.
I'm more interested. What is it? The Unbound Master? What is the series Unbound about? Like, and is it a Doctor specific series? Is it a Master specific series? Is it auxiliary characters? Is that what's happened? Why is he the Unbound Master?
Like I said earlier, Unbound is like a fancy schmancy Doctor Who word for what if. That's
Oh,
basically it. So, like I said, in the 40th anniversary special, the around the time of Zagreus, by the way, in 2003, they did this whole series, standalone series. Well, not really standalone, just anthology series is what the word I'm looking for. But they had Geoffrey Beildon as an alternate version of the first Doctor who never left Gallifrey. They had David Warner as a Doctor, a third Doctor that didn't really end up where he was supposed to be. He was several years off. They had Derek Jacobi as a guy thinking he's the Doctor. He's basically playing a producer of Doctor Who, a version of of the show Doctor Who that failed, that never went to air, and his experiences there. That's the weirdest one out of all of them. They have David. They had David E. Collins as a ruthless version of the Doctor, a Doctor that believed that the ends justify the means. Like, he's willing to kill people and lie to protect his own skin. And
just
they had
like Soda.
yeah, just like Soda, of course, the Soda Master. And they also had Arabella Ware, technically speaking, the first female Doctor. Well, I'm not going to get into that conversation, but yes, she was kind of an alternate version of the third Doctor. If the second Doctor escaped the Time Lord trial before they could try him, so yeah, I encourage you to at least check that one out. She's not a great Doctor, but the story itself is pretty funny. David Tennant is also there, just letting you know. So, and then obviously, apparently the Geoffrey Beildon and the David Warner Doctors were so beloved, they gave the Geoffrey Beildon another shot at being the Doctor, and they gave David Warner another shot at being the third Doctor, and that one was so well beloved that they pretty much went ahead and made him an unofficial Doctor in the New Adventures of Bernice Summerfield, which primarily took place in another universe where he was the Doctor. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can find some images of that. It's going to be pretty interesting. But he was the main Doctor in that universe, and Mark Gatiss, who played the Doctor in the Unbound series, was basically the Master for those other episodes. So as I look up some more pictures, any other questions?
No.
No, I wish K9 would have been on the show though too.
Yeah, but
like Joe Grant and K9, even though they were part of it, but that's fine.
Yeah, but
and they should have the Brigadier.
Well, I'm with you on the Brigadier because he's a major character who had lots of runnings with the Master. When it comes down to it, the K9 didn't really meet the Master a lot. Not on the TV show, not on the Big Finish side, not
I
anywhere.
don't think he ever did. Not on the TV show, anyways.
This is one of the pictures I mentioned. Clearly, David Warner has his own sonic screwdriver. And it looks great. But yeah. So should we wrap this up? I think we stretched this out to an hour.
Yeah.
So
Stretched it.
So, the Snarkster. Where can people find you when you're not asking people to obey them?
You will find me asking people for money on a street corner because I sleep under bridges now. Oh no, that's not true.
I was gonna say that's quite the bridge you have behind you.
That
Yeah.
took a dark turn really fast.
I don't even know whose house this is.
Masterful was dark. What the hell?
He's a squatter. Nice.
Yeah. They don't know I'm here. I'm one of those people that lives inside other people's walls.
Oh,
This is what I do now. That's why I found a place with free Wi-Fi. They didn't have a password. The password was password soda. All right.
We don't
Pretty
talk
easy.
about Snark. No.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
don't talk about Snark.
Yes. Let's see. You can find me here on the Northern Entertainment Group Tuesdays talking about television on Have You Seen This? And over at LGRN, I do the starting 11 with our friend Delia. Playoff Beards is coming back. Soda.
Yeah, sorry I could be on that one. I really wanted to be there.
That's fine. We're barely scratching the surface. 2 more episodes of just talking about the playoffs until the playoffs actually start, and then we're on all the goddamn time. Then you can show up and you can talk about what it used to be like when the Vancouver Canucks used to be able to make the playoffs every once in a while.
I'll gladly tell you stories about what it was like living in Vancouver during that time. I'll gladly.
I'm sure it would be a riot.
Yeah.
Even I get the joke.
That's a dark spot in Vancouver history for sure.
Anyways, that's it for me.
So, the Soda Master. When can people find you when you're not obeying your dog's orders?
You can find me on the Northern Entertainment Group with 50 over on Fun with Flags, which the recent episode was just uploaded at the beginning of this episode. So you can tell your mom. So you can find me that. You can find me Friday nights on the Blokes of Wrestling podcast over on the Let's Get Ready Network, which we will soon be launching our own wrestling channel. So definitely keep an eye out for that. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be some great stuff.
Go vote for your favorite
That's right. Yes, if you go, it's in the community tab, I think. If you go, I believe it's on the community tab over on the Let's Get Ready Network YouTube channel. There is a poll going on that's going to be going on up until WrestleMania week. We're going to be voting on the best wrestling theme song, at least the first edition, anyways. Hopefully, so definitely do that. Go over there and vote.
Best one's never even shown up yet.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, there are some eras where it's particularly hard to just single out. That's why we're hoping if this works out, we'll be doing more of these because, there's like I actually had to pitch Slow Chemical. Wasn't even originally on there. I had to pitch that one, and that's
Pomp and Circumstance isn't on there. You monsters.
Oh yeah,
monsters.
Take 2 Canadians and leave them in the room together, and they just talk and talk and talk and talk. Meanwhile, you can find me, as the Soda Master mentioned, every Thursday, hopefully, on Fun with Flags, every Monday, hopefully, on this show, the greatest show in the galaxy. And you can also find me on my own YouTube channel, 50 Shades of Geek, where I do weekly reviews of every single Doctor Who episode from 1963 all the way to 2022. Except last week, because I forgot to upload an episode. So, see, it's not just you.
Good.
So, I will be uploading a new one at the start of this week. By the time this episode comes out, it probably should already have been uploaded. I also recently did a reaction video to the Eurovision song that will be representing Israel in the Eurovision. So, go in New York Hero. And you can also check out...
Strange.
You watched that one, by the way?
No, I haven't seen it. I just know Eurovision as a whole is so strange. I enjoy it, but it's strange. what is it? Is it not? Well, the Ukraine one last year because of politics, but I can't remember which country won a song about a tree. Won the whole Eurovision. The song was about a tree. Like, yeah, this is the kind of stuff that wins Eurovision, guys. It
Jesus.
is fascinating stuff.
Yep.
And Waterloo one too.
I mean, it is the Eurovision, but yeah. So I think that's about it as far as me. You can also check out other shows on this channel as well as the other two gentlemen here mentioned. You can also check out the Multiverse of Geekdom, the lasting legacy of our good friend Ben Rayner and his friends Joe and Don and Midnight and all kinds of other people, still keeping the flame alive, keeping his dream vision still around on the YouTube. You can also check out our good friend Taco on his last hurrah on his channel. I think he just recently uploaded another one of his Geek Gauntlets recently, so go ahead and check
was
that
last
one.
night, yeah.
On his channel, Something to Talk About. And yeah, I think that's it for us and all of our friends. So, in the immortal words of Missy herself,
don't forget to like and subscribe.